Jessica, I'm sorry, I had to say. I keep thinking it in my head. Hi, Gremlin Lord here, and welcome to Gremlin Lord Live, episode 23, Picture nominations. Today we are going to be talking about, you guessed it, the Best Picture nominees for the 2025 Oscars. And yeah, it's going to be kind of a long one. There are 10 movies to talk about. I have seen 8 of them thus far, 2 of which I have not seen yet. And for 2 different reasons. So we will go over those 2 reasons shortly as soon as I'm done discording myself here. Now, you may think, Gremlin, why are you talking about this stuff if you haven't even seen the movies? And much like the Academy members who don't watch the movies prior to their voting, I have tried. I actually have watched, like I said, 8 of the 10. The 9th one I am unable to watch before this live because it's Frankenstein. So Frankenstein I haven't been able to watch because it's a Netflix exclusive film. Thanks, Netflix. And it is not being shown in theaters until Sunday, which is the day of the Oscar show. So I won't be able to watch it until the day of the Oscars. But I do plan on watching it, although I don't like going to the movies on Sundays. But it's really my only option for seeing it, and I really do want to see it on the big screen. So that is very, very important to me. So that's what I'm going to do. The other movie that I have not watched is, you guessed it, Marty Supreme. Now, Marty Supreme is a movie, it's a little bit complicated. So when I first saw the trailer for Marty Supreme, I was like, wow, that looks really stupid. I saw the trailer before one of the Regal Mystery movies, and I was like, that is going to be a Regal Mystery movie. 100%. Because look at that goofiness. It's Timothy Chalamet playing Timothy Chalamet. He's shacking up with a 20 years older Gwyneth Paltrow. They're not speaking like they would speak in that time frame. It's about ping pong. And then, of course, the anti-American, anti-freedom Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank is in it. And I was just like, this movie looks like flop mania. And then fast forward to it releases in theaters, and people really kind of liked it. Some people really liked it, some people really hated it, and it was just really surprising. Now, I thought all those things prior to Timothy Chalamet being unable to control his diarrhea of his mouth, okay? I thought it looked silly and stupid before all of that drama, okay? And, after he made fun of women without children, made fun of ballet and all that jazz, I'm like, maybe this isn't really the movie for me. I really don't want to see it because I really don't want to support anything Kevin O'Leary's in. Kevin O'Leary can just go off to Mars. What's up, Neuromancer? Hardcore! I just talk about the 2 movies that I have not seen of the Best Picture nominees, which are Frankenstein because it's Netflix and it's not in theaters till Sunday, and Marty Supreme, which originally was because I never wanted to see it, and now I just don't want to see it. But I have seen the other 8, including one of them today. So there are a lot of movies to talk about. Now, I have reviewed some of these films already on YouTube Lives, like Begonia and F1, I'm From America. And so I'll still go over them, obviously, because I don't expect you to remember my YouTube Lives from last year. But I do have limited notes for some of them because of that. And it's important to know that we do have to make it through all 10 movies, or all 8 movies that I've seen. We can still talk about Marty Supreme and Frankenstein if you want. Like I said, I haven't seen them, so I can't really judge them. Frankenstein, I mean, I'm interested in. It's just, I don't know if I really care about another Frankenstein movie. It's like The Bride. It's out now. I'm still going to go see it, but is it worth it? Who knows? Anyhow, let me get another window open with IMDb so we can get into the nitty-gritty details of these movies, whether they were successes or flops or all that jazz, and so I can attempt to not mispronounce actors' names. Hello. So what movie should we start out with? There is a lot of movies to choose from. We got F1, we got Sinners, we got Begonia, we got Hamnet, Sentimental Value, The Secret Agent, One Battle After Another, which apparently I don't have a review on here for. Oh no, there it is. And then the last one is the one I watched today, is Train Dreams. That one I watched today. Another Netflix movie, but it was released this week, or today in theaters. What's my favorite actor? Ugh, that's kind of a lofty thing. I mean, there's actors that I enjoy watching very often. Like I love watching Ian McKellen, and I like Jim Carrey, and Tilda Swinton, and Frances McDormand, Toni Collette, Tim Curry. But favorite, I don't know. Favorites, I'm not a big fan of the word favorite. Because that means there's somebody else not there. Alright, but what movie should we talk about first? I'm gonna talk about the one that's on my list already. The one that's on top of my list. Which is F1. F1 I went and saw. Not sure why, because I don't like racing. I don't care about Formula One. I don't care about it. So why did I go see it? Honestly, I can't remember why I went to go see it. I mean, so this is an Apple movie, I believe. Stars Brad Pitt and Damson Idris and Javier Bardem. Oh, that's Carrie Condon. Carrie Condon was in Train Dreams that I watched today. I knew I recognized her face, and I knew I recognized her name, but I was like, God, what do I know her from? She was in F1. I have not seen the Russian film, brother, because I don't watch a lot of Russian films. I am not in Russia, and I don't have access to a lot of Russian filmography. A Formula One driver comes out of retirement to mentor and team up with a younger driver. The premise of F1 is a very generic premise, The older, more washed up guy is now going to train the younger guy. They're going to butt heads and hate each other. Then they're going to become friends and be successful. Movie over. And that's what F1 is. It's a tale as old as time. It's a movie trope that we see all the time in all kinds of genres of film, and it's not surprising. It is rated PG-13 and released June 27th of last year, and it is 2 hours and 35 minutes. It's a long one. It is a long one. Let's see. Brad Pitt was paid $30 million for this movie, his highest salary of his entire career, which is insane. The thing about this movie is that its budget is insanely high. It's a $200 million budget, and some estimates put it at $300 million. Because you got to think about this, right? It's F1. It's licensed. Every car is licensed. There's sponsors. The tracks are licensed. Drivers are licensed. The drivers' names, teams, like all of it is licensed. The tools are licensed. The tires, everything. That's a lot of money to spend on licensing. Plus you get music and everything else about the movie. So, I'm reading my notes. They're really jumbled. The actress who plays Damson Idris's mother is only 4 years older than him. She's 38 and he's 34. Just crazy. Can you imagine an actress playing your mom and she's only 4 years older than you? Oof. She's playing older, he's playing younger. That was produced by Lewis Hamilton, which, if you don't know who Lewis Hamilton is, he's a vroom vroom driver. Simone Ashley was cut from the film. Simone Ashley. I think there was a controversy about Simone Ashley. Well, that's good because I'm not. I think it was a controversy because she's a person of color and she was like the girlfriend of the main guy. And she was cut from the film like completely. Let's see. The trailer shows you the whole plot. Obviously, we already know that. I was entertained by the movie. We're talking about F1 here. I was entertained by it, surprisingly. I don't care about racing, but something about it was still high energy, still high T, as the dude bros say. You know. Brad Pitt's face work looked really good. He looked really handsome with his facelift. You know, it took years off his life. It really did. So kudos to his plastic surgeon. I feel like if you enjoy racing more, you'd probably like this movie more. Except for the anachronisms in the movie where they do things that probably aren't legal in actual F1. Not to mention Brad Pitt is like 60 years old, and you probably wouldn't find a 60-year-old competing at the top tier of F1 racing. I know my friend said that is highly unlikely. You suspend all belief just to even have that happen in the film. And I forget when we talked about it. We probably talked about this in last July on that live. I think it was the masculinity versus femininity movie review, I think. Anyway, that was a live. Oh, I was like, what? Apparently, okay. I'm reading my notes from back then. And so I thought about my dad a lot when I was watching the movie. My dad's dead. Because when Brad Pitt had his helmet on, his eyes and like the wrinkles around his eyes looked like my dad who rode motorcycles in his head, in his helmet. So, very interesting. Very interesting. Let's see. It was real racing, real teams and drivers, cameos from real drivers. Brad Pitt and Idris did do a lot of their own driving scenes. Not necessarily driving at 200 miles per hour, but they did drive. No, I know, Heathcliff. Hey, Prince. There was Led Zeppelin in it, which I enjoy. What did I rate this? According to IMDb, I have it in the 6 area, but it might be a 6.5. Hold on. Hold, please. Let me click. It doesn't have a lot of 6 reviews. That's interesting. Let's see. GremlinLord. GremlinLord. I know it's there. Control F. GremlIn. Only one match? That's because you're not showing me all the 6s, are you? Yep. You didn't watch that one? I didn't think I'd be into it either. I don't remember why I went to go see it. Why did I go see it? Can somebody tell me why I went to go see F1? Because I don't know why I went to see it. And it's not on my notes of why I went to go see it. I think that because people were just talking about it so much. Peer pressure, maybe? I don't know, but I saw it. Let's see. I gave it a 6.5 out of 10, actually. Something to do with Vetter? Maybe, but I don't think Vetter even saw it. Because Vetter said that Brad Pitt being a driver is too unrealistic for him. Because Brad Pitt's 60 years old. Yeah, so I gave it a 6.5 because I did enjoy it. I wasn't on the edge of my seat because it's insanely predictable. You know exactly what's going to happen in the movie. It is a very standard story, but it was entertaining. It just wasn't great. It did make over $600,000, but when its budget is between $600 million. I'm sorry, but when its budget's between 200 and 300 million, that kind of it kind of hurts a little bit. It did have a $57 million opening weekend though. It's because Apple throws money at stuff. That's the Apple way. They're like, we got money. Here's $200 million. Make a racing movie. But again, it's because of all the licensing. So what about you guys? You guys enjoy F1? Did you guys watch F1 with Brad Pitt? I mean, I know Prince, you didn't see it, but I'm a little man bun today. No, I did not enjoy. Wait, you did see it? No, you said you didn't see it. You liar. Like I said it before, like Brad Pitt's face looked really good. He looked really handsome. His face work is chef's kiss, man. Chef's kiss. That facelift did him wonders. And he's in good shape for his age. Yeah, you like my hair? It wasn't as nice as I liked it. I had it down all day, but with the rain and the snow, it just got real frizzy. And I was like, I'm not bothering with it. So F1, do we think it's a contender for Best Picture of the Year? No, I don't. I don't even know how it was nominated, to be honest. I feel like Apple might be throwing their weight around or something, because it's crazy to me that movie was nominated for Best Picture. To me, Best Picture is something that has everything, right? It has good acting, good story, good sound, good editing. It has everything that makes a good movie. This movie had good editing and good sound. The acting was okay. The story is not great and boring and very predictable. Like looking at a $200 million dud. But like I said, people who liked it really liked it. So it stinks. It doesn't stink. I gave it a 6.5, which is actually kind of high for a movie I have zero interest in. I'm doing this teapot thing right here. I'm just holding my hand, resting on the armrest and holding my side. Don't know why. It's just currently what's comfortable. All right, so what movie should we talk about next, Prince? Or anybody else in chat? Unless some of y'all folks are here. Remember, because I said we have at least 8 movies to talk about. So we can't spend a whole bunch of time. Begonia is on there. Yeah, we did review Begonia as part of our thriller live. I think it was Thanksgiving Day thrillers, I want to say. They re-released that yesterday. It was in theaters on Wednesday. I did not go see it. I took a day off from movies yesterday so I could work on stuff. Talk about that one.
Do what I say. Do what I say. I'm the boss. Man.
It's Bugonia, remember? It is on Peacock. It is on Peacock. And I've been tempted to rewatch it. You know what? I know my mom would want to watch it, but I know my grandma would not want to watch it. So, I really liked Begonia. That's one of my highest rated films of last year. Two conspiracy-obsessed young men kidnap the high-powered CEO of a major company, convinced that she is an alien intent on destroying planet Earth. Rated R. This released October 31st, so Halloween. Rated R, obviously. It's an hour and 58 minutes. It's from Yorgos Lanthimos, who, this is his first film I have ever seen. I know he's done quite a few films recently. Oh, that movie has fantastic acting. And it's crazy to me that Jesse Plemons was not nominated for Best Actor. Absolutely crazy to me. But I was very excited to see this one. I didn't get to see Poor Things or there's another one that I saw the trailers for and I never got to see. But anyway, Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, and Aiden Delbis, they were all really good in their roles. I mean, Emma Stone, is the corporate CEO, so she plays that kind of character. And then she plays kind of a damsel in distress kind of character. And then she plays where she's like, okay, you know what? I am an alien. And she's playing along with their whole scenario, right? Like, she is really a crazy good actress. And it's so funny to see how she came from, like, Easy A, and, like, House Buddy to this. And she can still do it all, because when she hosted SNL, she's still very funny. But this is just such an interesting role for her. And she shaved her head. Like, actually shaved her head. Jesse Plemons is insane in this role. Absolutely insane in this role. He's like endearing, but then like snaps real quick into like this anger. And he really personifies. If you've ever been around somebody with anger issues, like I have, he really captures that so well, and how he puts on that facade for other people that he interacts with. Aiden Delbus is the other character, and he's Don. He is autistic, and his character is also autistic in the movie, and he really does a good job. And it's interesting because some of the subject matter that he's involved in is really heavy. And yeah, like and subscribe, bruh. I want to say subscriptions tonight. Let's go. I'm not doing any more until I get subscribers. But yeah, but he was really good too. Who else is in this? Alicia Silverstone's in it for a bit. Stavros Halkias, who I recognize a little bit. It's sitting at a 7.4 on IMDb. I think Emma is nominated for an Oscar. I think she's nominated for Best Actress. I want to say 5 new subs now. I'm looking right now. Best Achievement in Music Written for a Motion Picture. So it's nominee for Original Score, nominee for Best Picture of the Year, Best by Actress, and Best Adapted Screenplay. Because now this is a remake of a Korean film that came out a couple of years ago. It's handled in a different way, but it is a remake. It's probably one of my favorite films of last year, and I really do want to rewatch it. So I might have to rewatch it on Peacock when I have the chance. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I really did like it. Let's see. Interesting cinematic score that punctuated scenes in a creatively weird way. Because we'll go, and you wouldn't be like expecting it. The sets and the costumes and visuals, it all felt real lived. I like a house that feels lived in. Like, I don't want to watch a movie where they live in a millennial gray house. I want to see a house that looks like my house, that has cracks, that looks like something people live in. I want it to look real. I think you would like it. It's really good. It's not scary or anything, but there is some gore in there that was a reason why the aunt wouldn't want to watch it. And she's not good with like really heavy tension. This movie's pretty tense. Negatives. The police officer character kept apologizing to Plemons for something that we never learn about. Yeah, the Stavros character, that's the actor's name, he kept apologizing. His character, but they never said what he was apologizing for. I mean, maybe if I rewatch it, I might pick up on what it was, but I could have used a smidge more background on the company. So the company that she works for. I laughed, I cried, I gasped. Begonia is such a bizarre gem that I can't stop thinking about it. The comedy doesn't overbear the drama. That's always a good thing. Stone and Plemons are showing how they are the future of acting. What's going on? Sorry. Got a pop-up thing there. Anyway. And now I want to check out other Lanthimos movies. You heard about what? What did you hear about? What was it? Tell me. Tell me. So out of these two movies, out of F1 and Bugonia, I'd say Bugonia is my front runner at the moment. I think Begonia is my highest rated of these films. I didn't rate Train Dreams, and I don't think the cops apologizing. Yeah, it was really odd because they know each other, but I don't remember what he was apologizing for. And I guess when I wrote it, I didn't know. I don't know if he's apologizing for Jesse Plemons' mom's death or something. Like I don't, because you know what things that they did as kids. So I honestly don't know. But I gave Begonia a 9 out of 10. I really liked it. I need to get it on physical, you know. That's a movie I would get on 4K. There's a cool steelbook I might look into. It's a good movie. It's not a Warner Brothers movie, right? Or do I need to buy it like right now before the digital copies expire? Because like some of these movies are Warner Brothers movies. Focus features Fremantle elements. Okay, so no. So there might not even be a digital copy. It only has its box office at 42 million. I wonder how accurate that is. Let's see. Begonia budget versus box office. Budget was 45 to 55. Box office 42. I like how the AI overview said it made 26 million, which is inaccurate. AI, thank you for your garbage. Yeah, so it wasn't a very successful film, but it was really, really good. How dare they? How dare they let it fall? But all right, so that's Begonia. What's the next film we should talk about? We're just kind of going through them kind of quickly, you know. We've already been live for half an hour, almost. So we've only done 2 movies. That's 6 more. 6 more. Well, it is still up for Best Picture. Remember, money isn't a thing. Train Dreams is a Netflix movie. And that's up for Best Picture. The Secret Agent didn't even release in the United States, a wide release. It literally was in New York and LA. So, and that's a Best Picture nominee. You only knew that one? Okay, well we can talk about Hamnet. That's the next one on my on my sheet. Hamnet is also on Peacock. So if you want to watch that one, it's currently available to you. It just joined Peacock. So it like joined Peacock like the day of or the day before I went to go see it in the theaters. Hamnet is another one of those weird movies where I don't like Shakespeare. And I really wanted to see this movie. I really wanted to see it. And I don't usually like period pieces. I don't. Oh, earthquake. I don't usually like period pieces. I don't usually like, old British things like that. And would you like it? I don't know, Prince. Do you like crying? It's really slow. It is really, really slow. It's eventfully slow. Like, it's not like a slow burn. It's just a slow paced film. You know, it's dramatic. Here's the description. After losing their son Hamnet to plague, Agnes and William Shakespeare grapple with grief in 16th century England. A healer, Agnes must find strength to care for her surviving children while processing her devastating loss. So this is based on a book, and Agnes is actually the main character of that book, not William Shakespeare. And I do feel like she's probably the main character of this film as well. She and let's see, so we got Jessie Buckley who plays Agnes. Paul Mescal plays William Shakespeare. Joe Alwyn is Bartholomew. You know who's in this movie? Emily Watson. She plays Mary. She plays William Shakespeare's mother. Not Emma Watson, Emily Watson. Don't get them mixed up here, okay? They are different people. Emily Watson. Oh, she was in The Legend of Ochi. Oh, yeah, she was in The Legend of Ochi. I need to get that on DVD. I really liked Legend of Ochi. Anyway, it's a very interesting film. So it's kind of like I called it a plain beauty film, where it's nothing flashy, it's nothing crazy, it's nothing in your face. It's very much a kind of like down home created type of movie, where you see some forest, you see the cottage, you see some farm. It's directed by, I always forget her name, Chloe Zhao, and she did Nomadland, and she won an Oscar for that. She also directed The Eternals, which people didn't like, which I did like The Eternals. I was about to show you my cup, but I don't have the Eternals cup this time. She directed The Eternals. It's just a really sad movie, but it ends on a really positive note. So Agnes meets William Shakespeare, or Will, and he's really into her. She's a falconer, I believe they're called, where she has a pet falcon. She has like the glove and everything. And there's kind of like this whimsy around her, where she's spiritual but not religious. So she's connected to the forest and connected to the earth, and people accuse her of being the daughter of a witch because she's really into herbs and spices and natural healing and things like that. I think in the trailer they show that when she holds somebody's hand, she can see their future or something like that. I do wish they would have delved a bit more into that than they did, but I do feel it was enough there to kind of give you the idea of who she is. It's not like a fantasy film, she's not there concocting brews and, toil and trouble stuff. Nothing like that. But she does use homeopathic remedies to try to combat plague and to try to save children's lives. Yeah, things like that. She feels very connected to certain things, like to the forest and to her home. Like, she feels very emotionally connected to them. And then William Shakespeare's kind of like a tortured person. He's older, not older, but he's at the age where he should have a life by now. He should have a career. Like his family, he still lives with his parents, and like he went to college, and they mentioned, where did your college get you? He still works for his father as like leather working stuff while writing on the side. And he really wants to be a writer and create art. And, you know, it, but he's really smitten with Agnes. He meets her, thinks she's bizarre, crazy, and he wants to be with her. Obviously, in the trailer, they show you that one of their children dies. So they have 3 children. They have a daughter, and then they have twins, a boy and a girl. You got, let's see, who are the children are who? You got Edmund. How come the children aren't listed on here? Jones boys are listed. I gotta get the full cast list here. But anyway, so they have children, and it was a very tense moment with the birth. I mean, obviously, birthing children in 16th century is risky. It was a really sad, tense moment there. But again, they get more into a little bit of that fantasy stuff, that fantasy stuff. Oh, obviously, the kid's name is Hamnet. Duh. Duh. So Hamnet and Hamlet are the same word. They're spelled differently, but they're considered the same word. Fantasy. Wait, are these 2 characters related? They are related. Oh, that's why I keep seeing them on the red carpet together. So the little boy who plays Hamnet, the child, is Jacoby Jupe. Okay? His older brother, Noah Jupe, plays Hamlet in the story. Because in the play, Hamlet is kind of the personification of Hamnet. It was William Shakespeare's way of coping with the death of his child, is by creating this character. So that explains why they looked more alike than I thought they would. Oh, he was in A Quiet Place. He's the boy from A Quiet Place. Oh my goodness. Yeah, duh, Hamnet. Is it really that delayed? I'm trying to think the other things this little boy's been in. Peter Pan and Wendy. Not much. I mean, he's very, very young. What's he, like 10? But he was phenomenal. Jacoby Jupe was phenomenal in this movie. That little boy, and he has the most cherubic face. Little cheeks you just want to pinch. He has these blue eyes, and they get filled up with tears, and it's just like you couldn't help just get super emotional when you see him like fighting for his sister. And like, I just saw your maybe it's very delayed. I mean, it's delayed in my ears, but it's not that delayed. So, but yeah, he was super cute. And then, like I said, I didn't realize it was his older brother. This is what he has to look forward to. That's crazy. That's crazy interesting. Plus the fact that I know this kid from A Quiet Place. I did my review on A Quiet Place Part 2. That is so crazy. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. The kid actors were all really good. Jessie Buckley is a really great actress. The thing about this kind of movie is that there's a lot of emotion of just looks. They just staring. And there's a lot of moments where the characters are just looking. And you can kind of feel that emotional tension growing. And it's really poignant. It really is poignant. I mean, especially with the earth-shattering loss of her child. Agnes is completely broken, but her and William both deal with it separately, and they deal with it differently. Because William is still going to London to deal with the plays and to work at the theater, the Globe Theater. And Agnes is here at home. And they end up building a new house, and of course she's not happy in the big house because, you know, her son has never been in that house, so she has no memories of her son in that house. And I see your emo. Yeah, like and subscribe, kids. And but William's also dealing with it because he wasn't there for the death. So it's this very thing, and they have issues with each other because of it. And you get to the end where they are showing the play Hamnet, and it's such a Hamlet, and it's such a crazily emotional scene because William's going through one thing, and Agnes comes in the audience, and she's angry because she doesn't think that they should be using her son's name. But she doesn't realize that the play is a way for Shakespeare to explain how he's feeling, because he plays Hamlet's father in the play who dies, and it's kind of is it a metaphor where he feels like he is dead without his son, kind of thing. And it's very tense. Like that whole last 35 minutes of the movie was just tears and tears and tears and tears, and it was really, but I liked it though. And then the ending, look, I'm getting a little teary-eyed right now. Look at that. But the ending, though, is a more positive sadness where they kind of come into their grief, they reconnect with each other, and it's just this really a positive note where they can finally move forward with things. But it is really slow, so I wouldn't suggest watching it when you're tired or when you're high, because you're probably going to get really bored. But I definitely did like it. Yeah, there is a scene where it's not really a spoiler, I guess. There's a scene where somebody says the lines "to be or not to be," and it felt like one of those moments where it's like, oh, there it is, they said the line kind of moments. And I know it's not supposed to be that kind of moment, because it's supposed to be an emotional moment where somebody is like, should I live or should I not live? But it felt kind of odd when they said it. The first thing I thought was like, oh, they said the name of the movie, kind of situation. To be or to not to be. It felt a little on the nose for me. I did mention how I wish they would do a bit more of the fantasy stuff, because I did feel like sometimes it was a little too little, and I feel like it would have, if it was just flushed out a bit more, not like witches and brews and all that, just something that's, I don't know, something that helps Agnes cope a bit better. I don't know. It's hard to explain what I'm trying to say. But I would have liked a little bit more. At the end of the movie, though, that you do see the parts of Hamlet, and it is spoken in, Shakespearean, ye old English stuff. And I am not good at understanding that. I am not good. I've always been really bad with Shakespeare. I can never understand. I feel like you need a degree to decipher the syntax of the speech and also what the speeches are meaning, because there's so many old references and to old 16th century jargon, and it's too much, and I've never liked it. And it was kind of tough for me. watching Hamlet the play in the movie Hamnet. But I understood the gist of it. And the scenes that they showed of the play were very specific, and I do get them. So, but yeah. So for a rating for Hamnet, now available on Peacock, it is currently sitting at a 7.9 on IMDb, which is really good. There is no nudity in this movie. There's almost nudity from a birth scene. You do not see Paul Mescal's behind. You almost do, but you do not. Ooh. I have here. I have it sitting at an 8.5 to 9. I want to say it's more of an 8.5. It's really good. I really did enjoy it. But it is sometimes a little too slow for me. And there's just a little bit of elements of the fantasy stuff where it's treated more as a hope as opposed to a belief. And I think that kind of goes against the established character of Agnes. So there is a couple scenes, I'll just talk about this real quick and then we'll move on to the next movie, where the camera is there, right? Let's say, and it's showing the twins' beds. The twins get up and they go off camera, but then the camera slowly pans. But the focus isn't on the children. The focus is on the room, because it's the idea of Agnes's feelings that the house is a home because of what happens inside of it. So we're not really focused on what the kids are doing. I mean, we know what they're doing, we can see them, but the focus is really on the room. So when the kids walk off the camera, we still hear them, but the camera does not follow them. And there's quite a few scenes like that where the camera just kind of slowly pans to whatever's happening in the room without focusing on what's happening in the room. And like I said, it really reinforces this idea of Agnes's, that this is a place, it's the place that it makes the family united. So that's why she's even sadder when she moves to the new house, because that house doesn't have these memories and these feelings of her children, especially the one that died. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go with 8.5. I'm gonna go with 8.5. That's what I'm gonna say. Okay. Hamnet, 8.5. I really liked it. I did really like it. Definitely a physical media collection. But I'm not sure how many times I can watch it. That's all. But yeah. So that's another movie down, guys. Another movie down. What should we go for next? While you're deciding, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video, because we're trying to grow the channel. I do a live every month. I do a video every week, except for the live weeks. So 3 videos a week, a live every month, and of course, multiple shorts, video game content, voiceover content, and a lot of movie content, including physical media collecting and such. So I always think about doing more lives, but I don't know what I would do a live on, I don't know what I would do a live on. Because my live weeks are my weeks to relax. All right, like this week, the only thing I had to make was the thumbnail. And that's very simple. I didn't have to edit video. I did have to put on a costume for the thumbnail, but I can go to the movies. I can relax. If somebody needs me to do something, I can do that. Or if I wanted to go do something with the aunt, I could go do that. Like, my live weeks are they're a relief, because making videos is so laborious. So, kind of like it's a little sweet treat. It's a sweet treat for me. But yeah, so next movie. What next movie, guys? We got plenty. We got plenty. We got Sinners. We got Sentimental Value. We got The Secret Agent. One Battle After Another. Train Dreams. Sinners. Oh, getting all the well-known movies out of the way, huh? Sinners is getting that buzz, you know? It's getting the buzz. Somebody take me. You don't know about Saints, but Sinners always look good. Trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. Rated R, 2 hours, 17 minutes. It's currently sitting at a 7.5. Obviously, Michael B. Jordan plays Smoke and Stack, the twins. He does play them very well. He plays them as very different people as well. Jack O'Connell is Remick. He's a vampire. The same guy from 28 Years Later. Bone Temple. Haley Steinfeld plays Mary. She's a mixed race individual. White passing. Miles Katzum is Sammy, who's the story's really about. We got Delroy Lindo in there as well. Why critics won't say this movie isn't very good. Turn your brain down, turn the volume up. Wow. Many musical performances recorded live on set, with the cast members performing alongside blues musicians. Love what movie? Oh, Sinners, you mean? Sinners came out April 18th, by the way. Okay. Surprised you saw it. It had a $90 million budget, which is pretty big. And it made $369 million. So it is a successful film. It made back more than half of its budget in its opening weekend. Obviously, it was re-released, and it was in IMAX and I think 4DX. Maybe not 4DX, but it was in that Screen X where you have the screen here and the side screens. Yeah, April 18th. Yeah, it was early last year, and it was re-released as well. So, Sinners is a movie that works on different levels. How you are watching it, you will get different things out of it. So, here's my notes for my stuff, okay? Sinners was good. It's beautiful, obviously. It's very nicely filmed. I really enjoyed the music of it. I'm not into gospel music, but I am into blues. And just really that kind of home feel. Costuming was really good. Everybody looked really sweaty the whole time, which made the obsession with oral copulation even weirder, since everybody was super sweaty. And you just know that everybody is super musky down there. And the fact that not only once, not twice, not 3 times, but repeatedly did they talk about oral action. I just wasn't expecting it. It was a bit more raunch than I was expecting. especially when one of the characters said, "Oh no, I need to freshen up," and he's like, "Oh no, I love the smell of you or taste of you or something like that." I was just like, she just walked like 5 miles, bro, to get there in the hot southern sun. And you're like, yep, that's what I want. Which is pretty interesting. Let's see. Obviously, the one scene everybody talks about is the one club scene where they're singing and dancing, and the camera pans around the whole crowd, and there's people from different decades in there, and it really is to show you how black music and black culture permeates everything, and how it's the blueprint for most things. And it was just this really cool scene where the music goes in and out of these genres and the costumes, and it's very smooth. And I think I read that it was maybe not necessarily one shot, but it was like done live kind of thing where the people would walk in, right? And when the camera came off them, they'd walk out, and then somebody else would walk in, the camera would come back, like that kind of like flow. And think about Sinners, like I said, it can work on different levels. So sure, it's a vampire movie. Cool. It's post World War One, right? World War One. Drama film with vampires. Or you can go deeper into it. Obviously, the blatant racism, the KKK, and like I talked about the culture and the blueprints. What does Remick stand for? And it was a vampire who wants the young black boy's ability to pierce the veil. So a white man wanting to use the black man's skills for his own personal need and desire. So I mean, it depends on how much you want to look into these situations. There's a lot of research done. Obviously, Ryan Coogler and his team. Um, let's see. Interesting. Because I wasn't really moved by any of the deaths. I did really want to see it again though, but I didn't have a chance to. It is available. They have it on Blu-ray at Walmart right now for like $15. I think I want it on 4K though. I think that's one I want on 4K. Just for the visuals and the music, you know. If I really, really like a movie, I want it on 4K. Right? Yeah, 4K is always good for something that you really want. Like, I have a lot of 4K movies, but movies I probably wouldn't have bought in 4K except for they were on sale. You know? So, but 4K really, especially older movies, they really do a lot of the time upgrade the visuals and restore it. Because Blu-ray, sometimes when they transferred things to Blu-rays, they changed coloring and stuff like that, and things look different. There's like a TikTok account that compares 4K with Blu-rays, and the difference is pretty stark sometimes. Like obviously with clarity, but also just the color grading of things is very, very different. So, I do wish they would have explored the piercing of the veil a bit more, because they talk about how music can pierce time and space, and there's a bit of that visually when he sings and like the roof looks like it's on fire and it goes up into the sky and stuff. And then obviously Remick is wanting to use him to contact his ancestors or whatever. But I really would have enjoyed a bit more lore into that, a bit more fantasy, if you will. I didn't know that Remick was Jimmy from Bone Temple when I was watching Bone Temple, because I didn't realize he was Remick. Yeah, just a bit more, because you create this world, and I really. Ooh, that's a Warner Brothers movie, guys. I might need to buy that soon so I can get that digital copy. That is a Warner Brothers movie. It was one of Warner Brothers' big, huge hits last year, including Superman was a big hit too. I own Superman now. I already got that. What is her name? I don't want to. No, not you. Where is she? She's one of the main characters. Why is she not in the main list? I don't want to butcher her name. She was the woman who was with one of the twins. Where are you? Where are you? Annie. Yeah. So Wunmi Mosako. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name, but I really liked her. She was kind of like into the homeopathic stuff too, like Agnes from Hamnet, with the herbs and stuff. And she gave. Who was she with? Was she with Smoke or was she with Stack? I think she was with Stack, right? I don't remember which was which because I've only seen it once. I wouldn't mind seeing it again. But she gives him like that satchel full of like herbs and stuff to protect him, and it does end up protecting him. And like the ending was a bit tragic. But again, gratuitous lovemaking scene. But yeah, and the reason why I want to re-see Sinners, because originally I think I gave it like a 7. Originally I think I gave it a 7. And I don't think it's a 7 movie. Because the more I learned about it after seeing it, and the more I read into the history of certain things and the imagery, I just it made more sense to me, and I wanted to rewatch it to enjoy it more. And I redid my rating for that movie because, like I said, the more I thought about it and the deeper I thought about it, I thought it was better. So I actually settled on an 8 for it. I would have liked more of the lore of the piercing the veil. I would have liked more of the preacher character, the preacher's son, Sammy. I feel like some points he was kind of put a bit to the side, even though it's really kind of about him. Like, I want to know more about his abilities and why the church, obviously the church doesn't like the other music, but I would really have loved to see him experiencing the veil piercing kind of thing, to help him understand why he's so sought after by Remick. Because I feel like if you're going to go into that fantasy stuff, get in there a bit more, The ending with the sun coming up and all that was just a bit predictable to me, but I liked it. Like I said, I think I laughed at it. I don't think I cried in that movie. Maybe at the end, but I don't think I did. I don't know. But that's Sinners. Sinners is a really hot contender right now. It is. It's nominated for 16 Oscars. I think it's the most nominations ever, right? I think that was what it said, right? And the crazy thing is that you had like magazines like Rolling Stone or Variety or whatever it was trashing the movie, and saying all these things about how it's not that good of a movie and all this stuff. I'm sorry, did I click on Chris Welker? No, I didn't click on Chris Welker. I clicked on 11 more nominations, and I want you to show me all the nominations. And then it turns around and becomes one of the highest nominated films in history. Can you please show me the rest of the nominations, IMDb? Ugh. It does this thing sometimes where it just doesn't scroll because it's too busy trying to load an ad, and the whole web page just goes super slow functioning, and it's like, I can't scroll down because you haven't seen this ad yet for Ozempic. And it's like, Like you have to wait for every single little tiny picture to load, and it's a bajillion different pictures. And it's like, God. I think I'm gonna change into my shorts real quick. But yeah, obviously it has Best Picture nomination. I believe it's Best Male Lead for Michael B. Jordan, which makes sense. I think it's Best Casting as well. Casting, I believe, is a new category this year. I think that's what the trivia said on the movie theater. I want to say Best Casting is the new thing. Probably Best Original Song too, right? Somebody take me. As soon as it still hasn't loaded. It still hasn't loaded. Like there is like this insane fucking thing where it's like, I'm sorry, I don't know how to load this web page so you can see. Well, I didn't change on live, but I am in shorts now. Let's see. So best casting, best achievement in cinematography, best of makeup and hairstyling. I think Michael B. Jordan's hair wasn't real, was it? Best achievement in music written for motion's original score, best for original song. This Ludwig Göransson, who, Raphael Sadiq. Best sound, best visual effects. Is Avatar nominated for best visual effects? Or is that like something else? Best actor in a lead role. Delroy Lindo is best actor in a supporting role. Wunmi Mosaku is best actress in a supporting role. Best original screenplay. Best production design. Costume design, which is Ruthie Carter. I think she's won for. She won for Black Panther? Was that the woman who won for Black Panther? And then best in film editing. A lot of nominees, guys. A lot of nominations. Now, how many is it going to win? I don't know. Because I don't know the other nominees in all those other categories. Do I think it's a contender for Best Picture? I think it could be a contender for Picture. Who's Zinzi Kugler? Are they related to Ryan Coogler? It's his wife. It's his wife. She'd be part of the Best Picture. That's crazy. Yeah, because but again, you have to remember it's super popular, and popularity doesn't always mean you're going to win. Now, I don't. The Academy. All we hear is about negative things with the Academy and how people aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. But it could become, like I said, it could be a big thing. So it wasn't my favorite movie of the year, but I did really enjoy it. It's definitely one of the better movies of the year. 100%. 100%. Sorry. But yeah, Sinners, 8 out of 10. I did really enjoy it. Could have been a bit different. A bit better. Apparently I'm dying. I just ruled. Yeah, I can't die yet. I still got more movies to talk about. It's been over an hour. We gotta speed things up here. What's next? What's next? What's next? You know what? I'm gonna pick the next one. I'm gonna talk about Sentimental Value. This is a Norwegian film, which I didn't realize it was Norwegian. I knew you were going to get going because as soon as I start talking about something that's not popular, you gotta go. Thanks, my number 2 fam. Don't forget to like the video before you go. So but this is Norwegian, and about 90% of this film is not in English. They speak Norwegian. They speak Norwegian, English, French, and Danish. Bye, Prince. I'll see you tomorrow on Twitch. The release date for this film is very PC because it was on, all these festival circuits. That's what I was trying to say. And apparently I'm in a choking fit right now. Had a $7.8 million budget, made $22 million, which actually is 3 times its budget, so that's actually not bad. It is rated R. It's 2 hours and 13 minutes. An intimate exploration of family, memories, and the reconciliatory power of art. Rated R. Here's a better summary for you. After the death of their mother, estranged sisters Nora and Agnes, another Agnes, reunite with their once famous director father, Gustav. He tries to revive his career with a personal film project, casting a Hollywood star when Nora refuses. Casting a Hollywood star when Nora refuses a role. It leads to confrontations about art, legacy, and family trauma in a humorous and heartbreaking film. Was there brief nudity in this movie? Was there brief nudity in this movie? Whose nudity was in this movie? I think it's lady nudity. You don't see male nudity very often. Anyway. So you have Renate Renziv plays Nora. Their last name is Borg, B-O-R-G. Stellan Skarsgård, who you should know, father to the other Skarsgård children. He plays Gustav. Inga Ibsdottir Lilias plays Agnes Borg. And then Elle Fanning plays Rachel Kemp. She's the Hollywood starlet. So, like I said, 90% of this movie is not in English. The only times it was English was when Elle Fanning's character was involved, because she does not speak Norwegian. A filmmaker absentee father attempts to reconnect with his 2 daughters, kind of. What I did like about this movie, they did talk about one of the daughters when she was younger doing a report on an inanimate object, and she chose her house. This house has been lived in by multiple generations of their family, from herself, her parents, her grandparents, her great-grandparents, and it was just this kind of character. The house itself was a character. It's like black and red, and maybe like really dark brown and red. It's very huge and old and Victorian looking and very lived in, very warm. And it felt like its own character. And it is its own character throughout the movie. And it's very imposing sometimes. Now, since I don't speak Norwegian, the movie was a little hard to follow. There are subtitles, obviously, but I don't know enough about the Norwegian language to understand the syntax of their conversations. So, like, when I watch a movie in Spanish or in German, I know enough about the language to know when I can look up from the subtitles, because I understand enough of their conversation where their sentence is ended. So if somebody says like "Donde está la biblioteca," right? I read that, "Where's the library?" and then I can look up because I know everything that they said in the foreign language. But with Norwegian, I'm like, I have to keep jumping my eyes up and down, trying to see, wait, did they say something else? Did they say something else? And I feel like I may have missed some stuff in the film simply because I just wanted to watch the emotional things that were happening on the screen. and I would forget sometimes to look down at the subtitles, even though I didn't understand what they were saying. As I was trying to like absorb the moments that were happening. And it probably would require another viewing to really grasp some of the stuff that was said in the film since it is in Norwegian. Let's see. There are some things in the movie that felt random, but I don't believe they're actually random. I'm sure they all have to do with the story, but we would switch focus sometimes to Agnes and Nora's like grandmother and Gustav's mother, and when she was imprisoned for anti 1940s German stuff, and she describes like her torture and things like that, and it, it felt like a weird thing to jump into. And I know that there's part of it because they're giving us like background on these characters, especially the female characters and their family. But at some point, it just felt like a little odd to go into it. And this is what I do. So whenever a movie or TV show shows you a file, right, a piece of paper, I like to pause it and I like to read whatever's on that file, like a case file, police report, whatever, because it's just little details. I like to read the little details and see how much thought they put into it. The problem with this movie is because it's in a different language and the writing and the files are in different languages. So obviously I don't know how to read it. That the subtitles are telling you what they want you to read. So it'll say like, arrested for anti whatever behavior or incarcerated for 5 years. Like the subtitles tell you it. But it was hard to read the subtitles because they were white on top of this paper background. So it's like, come on. So I did, like I said, I had some difficulty with it. Um, I still understood it for the most part. It's just I feel like I would get a bit more out of it if I were to rewatch it. I'm not sure if I can rewatch it right now because it is a highly emotional film, and you'll get more out of it depending on how much you can identify with it. There is some humor. There was a mention of a hanging, a self hanging, and Gustav is saying, yes, and she used that stool right there. And it was a stool in the room. And the person he told that to was like, oh my God, this stool? Oh my God, it's so crazy. And he leaves the room and he tells his daughter, and she's like, we got that stool from IKEA. It just cracked me up because the other person's American. They would believe anything you tell them because they're trusting you. It was just funny that he's like, no, the stool's from IKEA. She didn't use that to take care of herself because she took care of herself years ago. I did like the inclusion of Elle Fanning. So Elle Fanning in the beginning, she's kind of like, the Hollywood starlet. And but you can see that she doesn't really want to be a Hollywood starlet. She is really trying to connect with Gustav because she likes his filmography and the things that he's done in the past. And she appreciates that art. And what she represents to him is like a surrogate kind of daughter, since his daughters don't want to participate with him in his film. So his one daughter was actually in one of his films when she was a child, and that was the only film she ever did. And he liked that and was one of the happiest moments of his life. And he was trying to write this role in this new movie for his other daughter as a way to connect with her and her grief and to connect with him and his grief and stuff like that. But she refused the role. She refused to even read it because of the trauma that they already had. So Elle Fanning is given that role. What's her name? Rachel Kemp. And she's really trying to get into it and she's really eager to do it. But she's having a hard time with it because she's not Norwegian. And she said the character feels like it's not her, that the character is made for some. So, but yeah, It's really heavy. Hold on, where's my notes? Plus, the scenes with Elle Fanning were in English, so you get a little bit of a reprieve from reading the subtitles when Elle is there because it's in English. But I do think it showcased her versatility. Now, obviously, people know that Dakota Fanning, her sister, is a great actress. Elle Fanning is really knocking it out of the park for me recently. I really liked her in Predator Badlands, where she played dual roles as well. And she really stuck out to me in this movie too, where at first she's kind of like a starlet, but you can kind of see that she wants to be a bit more. She kind of gets tired of the whole like party stuff, and then you see her come to the realization that this might not be something that she can do. And I feel like that's such a huge character development, and she really showcases that really well. Because not a lot of characters or people in general understand sometimes they're just things just aren't for you. You know, that sometimes you aren't really able to do something and you may need to back out of it. Now, the movie is 2 hours and 13 minutes long, which is actually one of the shorter ones of this group. But there's a lot of these blackout cuts where the screen just goes black. And then it comes back for another different section. And then it goes black. And then it comes back for another section. And it happened so much, and it really made the movie feel longer than it was. And I get why they do it, because time is passing in these moments, you know, because we're trying to get the process of this film to be made. So you don't want to see every part. So some parts Elle is just starting, and then she's a bit more into it, and then she's trying to learn more, and it's, you know, it's a growing film. There's a lot of those blackout cuts, but I really did enjoy it. It's dysfunctional family stuff, so obviously I'm going to apply my own family stuff into it. That's obvious. And, you know, an absentee father stuff is going to hit home. And I don't know, I really did like it. I don't have a rating as of yet. It was very emotional though. It's a long emotional time. Like, I didn't cry as much as I did when I watched Hamnet, but it was always like in that slump of emotionality throughout the whole film. It was really like weighing on my heart the whole time. And it was just like, God, this is so heavy. And I just want these characters to find some type of happiness, you know? So what can I rate this movie? I have on here between an 8 and a 10, or 8 and a 9. I think we're going to go with an 8 for now. I think we're going to go with an 8 for sentimental value. I really did like it, and I really did enjoy the experience and the story and all that. I do think that I missed some stuff again because of the language barrier and having to read the subtitles and stuff like that. But I thought it was well acted, and I don't know. I really did enjoy it though. So sentimental value, 8 out of 10. So that's that. The next one we're going to do is The Secret Agent. And as I'm looking this up, so I'll remind you that if you're just hanging out here, don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel. That'd be great. We're trying to get those 500 subs for possible monetization. Though I need a lot more viewership for monetization. but but yeah. And don't forget to like the video too if you're here watching, because that also helps. I need you to need me. The next movie is Secret Agent, The Secret Agent, which is nominated for Best Picture, Best Casting, Best International Feature Film, and Best Performance by a Lead Actor for Wagner Moura. This movie is from Brazil. They speak a lot of Portuguese. There's Portuguese, German, and English in this movie. The amount of English in this movie is minuscule. There is like one part where they speak English, and that's it. Um, I don't really have a release date for it because this movie, like I said, was really not released in America. It was barely released. It was in every film festival on the planet, but it was like limited run in New York and limited run in LA, and that's it. So this was my first time being able to see this movie. Um, First time for a lot of people to be able to see this movie. So I'm going to try not to spoil stuff for you. Actually, let's read what the description is here on IMDb. In 1977, a technology expert flees from a mysterious past and returns to his hometown of Recife, in search of peace. He soon realizes that the city is far from being the refuge he seeks. Rated R. It's 2 hours and 41 minutes. This is a long movie, guys. Very long. But it wasn't a bad movie. Again, another very enjoyable film. I don't know any of the actors in this film. This is a very Brazilian film with Brazilian cast with a lot of South American actors. I don't know any of them. I don't even know the main guy who's nominated for Best Actor, who apparently is not in the casting list right here. Why is he not in the cast list? Is there a reason why the main actor is not in the cast list? The guy who's nominated for Best Actor? Because that doesn't make a lick of sense. It's Wagner Moura. I will say there was a lot of good-looking people in this movie. A lot of good-looking Brazilian men. Okay, so this is the guy who played Pablo Escobar in Narcos. That's what I thought. That's who I thought he was. I've never seen Narcos, so. Oh, he was in Civil War? Oh, he's like one of the main characters in Civil War, isn't he? He's Joel. Yeah, I think it's like Kirsten Dunst and him, right? He played the wolf in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. He's apparently I know him from a lot more stuff than I thought. Because I saw Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I thought that was pretty good. So the thing about this film, and you probably got it from the description I just read to you, is that you think it's going to be about a secret agent. And it's named this way on purpose. And not to spoil this, this is a little bit of a spoiler here, guys. Okay. It's supposed to be deceptive. The director said it's supposed to be deceptive naming. Because the movie opens up with a man in a bright yellow Volkswagen buggy. Remember, it's the 70s. Pulling up to the gas station, and we see a dead body underneath a piece of cardboard in front of the gas station. Gas station attendant comes out and is like, "Oh, don't worry about that. I'm waiting for the police to come to take care of that," because it's during Carnival, woohoo! So the police are very busy doing Carnival things. So the body's just sitting there laying, rotting, and it's very odd. And then immediately the police do come and they start questioning our main character here, Marcelo. And it's very tense. And the whole time I'm thinking, who's he there to investigate? Is like he investigating like a drug cartel? Is that dead body like part of his investigation? Is he? a governmental secret agent? Is he like a police secret agent? Like, are these cops that are interviewing him like real cops? You know, it's a lot of like, is what, who got what, what's going on? Um, like I said before, most of this movie is not in English. Obviously, it's a foreign film. It is in Portuguese. And a similar issue like I had with Sentimental Value is when I had an issue following it sometimes. Not as much, but still some. Because again, we were looking at files. So again, there's captions explaining to you what you should be looking at in the file. And I'm trying to look at the file, but I have to read the caption first. It definitely feels like a 70s movie. 100% feels like a 70s film. There's a lot of Brazilian Portuguese music in it, but there is a song from Chicago in it. So that was fun. It's very colorful. It looks very hot. Like I said, a lot of characters are very interesting. It's really about corrupt government, and there's a lot of imagery of corruption and violence, and the police are in on some of this corruption, and it's really kind of hard to follow because I feel like if I knew more about the political landscape of Brazil in the 1970s, this movie would make a lot more sense. It's obviously very tumultuous. It's obvious that the current leaders, whoever they were, because we do see pictures of the leaders a lot, and it's shown to show you how this authoritative government is always watching you, and they have no problem like hiring hitmen to take you out and stuff. And I feel like I would have, if I knew more about that situation, I could have grasped more of the gravity of what was going on. You can still follow it. I'm not saying it's like unfollowable. It's still easily followable. It just, you would understand it more if you knew what was going on in Brazil in the 1970s, which I do not. Brazilian history is not at the forefront of my knowledge. There is an actor in this movie named Udo Kier, who sadly passed away. Udo Kier is a very well-known, I believe he's German actor. This was his final film role. He didn't like to take on, he didn't like starring roles as much. He liked supporting roles. And he filmed all of the scenes in one single day, which is crazy. He didn't have a lot of scenes, but he did have a decent amount. He was like a clothing maker, and that was the only time in the movie where they spoke German, was when Udo Kier's character was speaking German. So, but it was really cool to see Udo Kier one more time. He has this striking, piercing blue eyes, and I think he's pretty handsome. But yeah, this is his final film. Let's see. Very 70s, tense moments and chases. Not necessarily like car chases, but like trying to, because somebody was trying to find Marcelo. So he was trying to avoid being found. There's a two-headed cat, which was an interesting thing. I don't know if it was real or not, but I mean, it wasn't CGI, but it could have been like a cat with another cat head, like a cat hat, if you will. There is a really weird aspect of this film, and it is a hairy leg that attacks people. And apparently, it's part of Brazilian folklore that a hairy leg attacks people during Carnival. And I was really confused by it. So, a leg is found inside of like a shark, and that leg ends up taking on a life of its own, and it's like people are in the park having relations, and the leg comes and starts kicking people in the face and stuff, and it's just like, and it gets kind of slapsticky with this leg bouncing around kicking people, and I'm just like, what is going on? What is this? What's happening in this movie right now? I don't understand why there's a leg kicking people. A dismembered leg. But now that I read that it's part of the folklore, it's just kind of like a fantastical thing added to the movie. Does it fit? I don't know if it fits. But again, I don't understand Brazilian culture, so this could just be something of their culture. But from my American standpoint, it was a little odd. There was a big switch to modern times as well that I was not expecting. You know, there's whole movies in the 70s, and then randomly we see an iPhone or a cell phone and a computer, and these young women are listening to the audio tapes. Sorry, listening to the audio tapes that we just saw being made in the 70s. So they're like transcribing it, but we don't know why they're doing it. But we do know that they take some interest in the case itself. But it was really odd. It was a really strange jump. Like, it wasn't like you knew it was coming. It just popped up, and here we are. Now we're in the future, and it was just I didn't quite get why we did it, but it happened. And the movie does end in the future, and it felt a little incomplete. It felt a little odd, and it's supposed to feel incomplete because the message of the film is about the corruption and the violence and the gangs and the government in the 1970s of Brazil, and how people just kind of fell to the wayside. You know, people were killed by hitmen, people were killed by cartels, people were killed by the government or disappeared by the government, and life just goes on. You know, we see Marcelo's son grown up, and he's like, I don't even really remember my father. It's because it just, you know, he's a victim of the system of back then, and there was no way to keep that memory alive. And once you realize that, it makes it feel a lot more poignant, because like at the ending I was like, huh, that's the ending. But when I read about it though, and how that is the point of the ending, it made it feel, it made me help me understand it a bit more. But like I said, it's a very interesting film. Visually, I really like the visuals of it. I could see why it would be Best Picture. I could see why it got that nomination. And Best Foreign Film. I could see that as well. 100%. If I had to rate it, which I do, I have to rate it. I must rate it. I'm gonna give it I don't know. I was thinking of an 8 or a 7.5. Because like I said, a lot of things I didn't like are things I just didn't understand because of the cultural difference of me being white and American and them being Brazilian. So, but I did think some things came out of left field. I don't know. I really like the characters though. You know what? I'm just gonna give it an 8. This was called an 8. Called a day. Every character, you don't get to learn a lot about them, but they do feel real and they do feel like genuine people, and I really like that. And like I said, there's quite a few attractive dudes. One of the bad guys is really cute. All right, so that is The Secret Agent. I'm giving it an 8. And I'm not just saying it because I want to be artsy fartsy. Okay, I actually did enjoy the film. These are movies I wouldn't normally see. Like, I wouldn't normally go see Sentimental Value or The Secret Agent. These aren't movies that I would be on my radar. I mean, if it wasn't the Best Picture nominee, I would have never seen The Secret Agent, because it's probably not going to be on streaming. I mean, it might be now that it's a Best Picture nominee, but it never came. It would never come to my theater. So, yeah. All right, now we're going to talk about One Battle After Another, which is rated R. It's 2 hours and 41 minutes long. This is another one of the popular ones that people are ranting and raving about. Again, I've only seen this once, and I did want to rewatch it. I just didn't have the chance to. I think I think it's replaying tomorrow. One battle after another. But I was planning on seeing maybe The Bride tomorrow and not this. Directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. No, I don't want that. Starring Leonardo DiCaprio as Bob, Sean Penn as Colonel Stephen Lockjaw, Benicio del Toro as Sensei Sergio San Carlos, Tiana Taylor as Perfidia, Regina Hall, my girl, as Deandra. Alana Haim is in this one. Where's Chase Infinity? See, again, Chase Infinity is like one of the main characters. She's not in the casting list. I have to go to like the full casting list to see her. A washed-up revolutionary Bob exists in a state of stoned paranoia, surviving off-grid with his spirited, self-reliant daughter, Willa. When his evil nemesis resurfaces after 16 years and she goes missing, that's grammatically incorrect, and his daughter goes missing, the former radical scrambles to find her, father and daughter both battling the consequences of his past. Rated R. This movie was actually a flop. An estimated budget of $130 million only made $209 million back. So it's actually a flop. Crazy, huh? Crazy. It was pretty successful outside the United States. Because only the United States was 72 million, which means, 130 million is outside the US. That's crazy that it was that not successful. Released September 26th. So to me, one battle after another, I wanted to see it. It looked like a stylized, explosive film, and it was for the most part. But there's something missing about it to really put it over the top. Now, I think the cast does a really good job, even though a lot of their characters are kind of one-dimensional. Like Tiana Taylor's character is just this like overly sexed woman who can't be bothered to take care of her daughter or something, and it's like, but that's what she's always using sex as her weapon. Leonardo DiCaprio, I liked. Is he nominated for Best Actor? I think that's an odd choice. I wasn't really convinced with his role. I liked his role. I don't know. It just wasn't. It didn't like blow me away. I like Benicio del Toro. He's very cool and nonchalant. I thought he was really nice. Regina Hall, I like. I would like to see her more. But excuse me. A lot of the characters were just they weren't well rounded. Chase Infinity though, I really like Chase Infinity. I thought that she played like the kind of innocent girl and suspicious and kind of a badass by the end. I thought she did a really great job. And I'm really hoping to see more of her in the future. It has fun and interesting cinematography. It's over the top. Everything is over the top. I mean, the movie introduces you really early in the beginning to like an attack on a facility, and Tiana Taylor Perfidia is like seducing Lockjaw, and he's like this crazy, bizarre character, Sean Penn, who is like into black women really a lot, fetishizing them, but also into like humiliation and also possibly into some gay stuff. A scene in that church. I'm not gay. when Willa says, "Your shirt's really tight." I'm not gay if that's what you mean. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. He's a bizarre character. His character was really crazy. But the movie does have a bit of a one tone in its tension. The soundtrack is really just, just these punctuated accents instead of an overflowing score, for the most part. And it was jarring and startling, and it kind of kept your adrenaline running the whole time. And I get that that's probably the point. Excuse me, but by the end of the film, I was exhausted. I was exhausted from watching this movie because it's just, oh God, there's just so much tension. But like singular tension. I did not care for the finale. I know a lot of people talk about the car chase at the end of the film. To me, the car chase was boring. It's 3 cars going up and down hills for like 10 minutes, and I'm just like, I need something more. Like, is there anything? I don't need to see, Chase Infinity driving, Sean Penn driving, Leonardo DiCaprio driving, like over and over and over and over and over. Like, give me something more. And I even got a little motion sickness because then the camera was like kind of on the front of the car. You know how race car games do it? And it was going up and down with the road hills. And it was like kind of getting me like seasick or something. I was like, ugh. Like, I don't care for this very much. So, I mean, what happened after the chase scene was exciting. And it showed more development for both Leonardo DiCaprio and Chase Infinity's characters. But, yeah, I wasn't super blown away by that. It's a weird movie. The story's a solid story. It's very timely. Questions against the corrupted and abusive government, including, them attacking like an immigration facility and such. But some artistic choices left me wanting more. That's what I said. I would really like to see it again to get a better grasp of some of the stuff and to really experience it again. Another Warner Brothers movie, so if we're gonna buy it, we gotta buy it soon so we get our digital copy. It's another movie my mom would like, but my grandma would not like. I gave this movie a 7 out of 10 for One Battle After Another. I'll be honest, I was surprised that it was nominated for Best Picture. And not because it's a bad movie, because it's not a bad movie. I just didn't think it was that good of a movie to be a Best Picture nominee. I could see Sean Penn getting a nomination for his character. I really wish some of the other characters were better written because they deserved more. Like Tiana Taylor's character, I wish she had a bit more to her. She's not bad. Like, I thought she did a great job with the role. I just wish that there was a bit more that we could see her do. I enjoyed her. And Regina Hall and Chase Infinity, I really liked her. So 7 out of 10 for that. Let me minimize this. Let me look at my thumbnail real quick and see what we've talked about. Yes. So the last one we gotta talk about is Train Dreams, which I have no notes on because I just watched it today before coming home. Train Dreams is a Netflix movie that I would have not watched if it wasn't nominated for Best Picture. Based on Dennis Johnson's beloved novella, Train Dreams is the moving portrait of Robert Grainer, a logger and railroad worker who leads a life of unexpected depth and beauty in the rapidly changing America of the early 20th century. Sorry, the trailer's playing, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? I'm sorry, it's Paul Schneider. Is that the guy from, is it Parks and Rec? Was he the guy who was like dating what's her face? It is him. Right? He was with Anne. He was Mark. Yeah, I knew I. Wow, I didn't recognize him in the movie. He had like white hair. It's been a while since I've seen him in anything. Anyway, Joel Egerton plays Robert Grainer. Felicity Jones plays his wife, Gladys. Um, William H. Macy's in this movie as Arn Peoples. Peoples, Peeples. A lot of weird names. Ignatius Jack, Curious Logger, Mr. Sears, Fu Sheng, Boomer. A Love Letter to a Vanishing World. Can we get a Best Actor nomination for Joel Egerton? I haven't seen a movie as intense as a visual as it has. That's a terrible grammatical thing. Film that breeds loss and beauty. Interesting. Sitting at a 7.5. Will Patton. Who was Will Patton? Doesn't have any box office information because it wasn't released. Because it's a Netflix movie. Who was this? Yeah, Will Patton. It was in Postman, Armageddon, Mothman Prophecies, No Way Out. None of which I've seen. He's in Halloween Ends and Halloween Kills. The Forever Purge. He was born June 14th. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, this is a movie that I would normally not see. Right, Train Dreams is something I have no interest in whatsoever. The story of a logger, the turn of the century, means nothing to me. I would have never watched this movie if it wasn't for being nominated for Best Picture. And I don't have Netflix, so anytime I hear about something on Netflix, I just tune it out because I don't have Netflix. So when you tell me, oh my God, there's this really cool movie, what's it on? Netflix? Don't care. Just don't care because I don't have it. I do have a Netflix gift card right there. It's right there. I was saving to finish watching Stranger Things, and I don't even care about Stranger Things now. Like, it's not even that serious to me anymore. Netflix has lost me. Anyway. So, the ratio of the film is like a TV ratio for a lot of it, which bothers me. It's a 1.5 to 1 aspect ratio. And when you're showing these really beautiful forest scenes, I would like to see more of the beautiful forest scenes. Like, please, show me the beautiful forest. And there's a lot of really nice cinematography of like seeing the trees and stuff, because he is a logger and he is appreciating the nature of things. Honestly, he's kind of a weird character to me. So they show him as a boy in the beginning, and he literally gives a whole like history. He dropped out of school, just kind of started working, doing jobs. His family sent him off to Idaho for whatever reason. And what is this rated, by the way? PG-13. I didn't think it was rated R. It didn't make much sense for it to be rated R. There's nothing in it that's rated R. Anyway, so when he grows up, he meets Gladys. They get married very quickly. They have a daughter, but he is still a logger or a railroad worker. And there's a scene, this is kind of a spoiler, I guess. So where he sees a railroad worker get killed. And not killed, but murdered. It's a Chinese railroad worker, and they get thrown off the bridge they just made down to his death, down into a gorge, and he is killed. And that character comes up a lot because he sees this character in different situations, and he kind of feels like guilt because he didn't step up to help or stop it from happening, nor did he hold the men responsible who did it. But it's also just kind of how he feels like death is following him around. His wife and his daughter die in a fire, which is in the trailer, so it's not a secret. And he's just kind of dealing with that loss. And he's trying to find what his purpose is. You know, when he was logging and everything like that, the purpose was to get back home to his wife and his daughter. He says this line where he feels like every time he comes home, his daughter is a different person. She doesn't get past the toddler stage, but it's a very poignant way of talking about a child. You know, so I thought that was really a good line. William H. Macy plays kind of a out there older logger guy who is always telling stories or singing a song or something like that. He's a demolition guy, and he was fine. I liked him in that role. He's a little hard to understand sometimes, but he was good. And he hears his wife and his daughter's voices all the time. Like he's lost. He is just lost. His house burned down. He's sleeping in the ashes of the house. He rebuilds the house. He adopts a dog. And it's just a lot of these things are just happening, and it's very slow. It's only an hour and like 40 minutes. I think it's 41 minutes. 42 minutes. And you're just like slowly watching him go through all the stages of grief, and it's sad, but like I wasn't enraptured in sadness. But there's another line that I thought was really, really good, and it's when he's older and he's still logging, and the younger guys are kind of treating him poorly because he's the old dude, and now they have like these chainsaws now that they can use, and they're like, "Oh, I can do it for you, old man," because he couldn't get the pull chain started. And he's talking to William H. Macy's character, and he's just like, I can't tell if is this the way it's always been? Is that how we were when we were younger, talking to older people, or is it just how the way things are these days? And it's a really, really interesting way of thinking about things because, we talk about boomers all the time. And I already see myself turning into a boomer as well, right? There's a certain level of respect or behavior that's acceptable in public that you may not think is acceptable in your older age, but when you were a kid, or a younger person, you thought it was perfectly fine. And that's just this. I just think it's part of growing old. You just kind of not so much resent. Well, some people do resent the younger generation because they're younger. They have that youth that you do not have any longer. And it's just that kind of idea. Like, are we becoming? Is the world different, or are we just becoming what we thought was the older people back then? Did we act the same way that these younger people are acting now? And it was a really interesting concept because, like I said, he was in no electricity, no plumbing. He ends up going to like Spokane on a train, and we ended up seeing cars. The time jump was kind of surprising to me because I was really surprised at how much it jumped forward. He sees himself in a mirror for the first time in 10 years. It was, I don't know. It was kind of slow. And I don't think I really cried in this one. I did tear up. I might have cried a little bit. I just found this character kind of, I don't want to say boring, but not super emotive. Like, he does cry in the movie, but I was just kind of looking for more out of this film. And again, I went this movie completely blind. I know nothing about this movie whatsoever. I read the description and I was like, okay. Not something I'd ever watch, but I'm going to watch it because it's Best Picture. And it's not a bad movie. Like, I wasn't upset or annoyed or anything like that. It definitely has a flow, a very slow flow, but it has a flow. And you see him go through the process of grief, and it's there. But there's characters that come in and they feel a little random sometimes. Like, there's a Native American guy who comes in. I think he's a shop owner and helps him. Um, that what's her face, Condon, Carrie. Of course, she's not in the cast listing. Why would she be? The woman from F1, she's in it. Hey, she's in 2 movies that are nominated for Best Picture. Look at her making 2 movies, 2 Best Picture nominated films in 1 year. That's a pretty big accomplishment there. I don't think she's nominated at all, but she was really nice and sweet in the movie as well. It was just, and I'm glad there wasn't a romance angle there. Thank God. I was like, please don't make him fall in love with her. That would completely destroy his character because he's supposed to be in love with his dead wife, and he didn't. But genuinely speaking, I wasn't super into it. And I knew I wouldn't be really into it. It doesn't mean it's a bad movie, because it's not. Visually, it's a really nice visual movie. And like I said, you do go through the stages of grief and all that. It's very much a niche kind of movie that I feel like people will like or not like. And I think it's a very specific kind of group of people who will like this movie. Like, you have to like this type of stuff. Like Yellowstone type of stuff. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's what it kind of felt like. Not like Yellowstone, because I've never seen Yellowstone, but that type of period piece, if you will. But this would be a really short one, because it didn't make a lot of effect on me. I'm going to give Train Dreams, though, a 6.5 out of 10. Like I said, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't super moved by it. It wasn't super into it. I can see why it would be nominated. It feels a little baity for Oscar bait people talk about. It feels like the kind of movie that would be nominated for an Oscar. Joel Edgerton was good. I don't think they did a good job of like aging him. I don't think they did a good job of that at all. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's all the movies. Like I said, we're not gonna talk about Frankenstein because I haven't seen it. I'm seeing it Sunday, and I haven't talked about Marty Supreme because I'm not seeing that at all. So that's really it. Those are the 10 nominees here for Best Picture for the 2025 Oscars, which are this Sunday, actually. I was toying with the idea of maybe going live Sunday to watch the Oscars, but I don't know how long they are. And to be honest, it would really just be like me like this, watching it on TV if I have it on TV. So I probably won't. But I will be live tomorrow on Twitch with more than likely more Battlefield, and then probably Marvel Rivals on Saturday, and Sunday DBD maybe? I don't know. But go ahead and follow me there. Follow me here too as well. Go ahead and give a sub to the channel. We're aiming for that 500. Or, 350. As I said before, I do a video a week, movie reviews. I either do current movies or I do things from my collection that I've bought and I haven't seen. I do the mystery movies as well. I do some video game content in there, since I do stream video games over on Twitch. We do some voiceover content. I add skits into my videos a lot of the times, or costumes. I make my own backgrounds, thumbnails, green screens, you name it, I do it. So, hey, if you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. Like the video, that'd be great. Before I go, I'll talk about the movies I bought today, because that's also what we do. We bought Super Mario Brothers movie This one was fine. I wasn't in love with it, to be honest. I thought it was sufficient. Chris Pratt as Mario, though, trash, as he would say. I got the Ten Commandments. I know you're thinking, what? Ten Commandments? Charlton Heston. You know, it's one of those big, huge, you know, epic films of the 50s that everybody knows. It's been spoofed and all that. And I figured, you know what? It's time I saw it. Blu-ray is sufficient for me. I don't necessarily need this on 4K. I'm sure it'll look amazing on 4K. I'm sure it looks amazing on Blu-ray as well. Another Egyptian one, Prince of Egypt. I've never seen this either. I know people really like it. It is Oscar nominated as well, or Oscar winning. And then I got this bad boy, the Lord of the Rings Extended Trilogy 15-disc set. 15-disc set. It has all the movies in there. Let me show you this. Let me show you one of them. So this is Fellowship of the Ring, okay? You got the movie here. Extended version disc 1. Then you have extended version disc 2. Why are there 2 discs for the extended version? Don't know. Unless the movie has to be on 2 discs. And then these are not Blu-rays. These extended features are the original extended features from the DVD collection, but they just re-released them back onto here. So it tells you there's 5 discs in here. Disc 1 and 2 are the remastered movie in 1080p. There's 4 commentaries with more than 30 participants in there. You can listen to commentary of the director and writers, the cast, the production team, the design team. Then you have the appendices from book to vision, 6 documentaries that cover J.R.R. Tolkien's adaptation process, planning, creating armor, makeup, interactive Middle-earth map. Disc 4 is the original DVDs, the appendices 2, from vision to reality, the original DVD Fellowship of the Ring behind the scenes. And it's like that for every single one. For every single one. It was $40, and I don't own any of these. So I was like, you know what? I'll get it. Because I had the Hobbit trilogy, but I don't have this trilogy because I had it with my ex, and when we broke up, he took them. So, but the first one won 4 Oscars: Best Cinematography, Makeup, Score, and Visual Effects. The second one won 2 Oscars: Best Sound Editing and Visual Effects. The third one won 11 Oscars. That's Return of the King. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, Art Direction, Costume Design, Editing, Makeup, Score, Original Song, Sound Mixing, and Visual Effects. Crazy stuff. But anyway, we need to go. It's been over 2 hours here, guys. Again, thanks for watching, and subscribe to the channel if you can. And we will see you again next week with a review that will probably be The Bride. Not sure. But all right. See you tomorrow on Twitch, guys. Bye.